Greetings of the day to everyone. Recently, Global Nature Conservation Index was released. In this ranking of 180 countries, India has performed very miserably. Now, let us see who releases this index, what was the rank of India, and what are the reasons behind India's poor performance in this index, and how will it impact the target of achieving sustainable development goals by 2030. So let us see the article. See, Global Nature Conservation Index. Okay, so Global Nature Conservation Index ranking was released recently. India got 176th rank in this Global Nature Conservation Index. That is 2024 May, India go 176th rank mila. Now, what was the score of India? India's score was 45.5 out of 100. So India's rank, if UPSC asks you about the rank, India's rank was 176 out of 180 countries. Okay, 180 countries were there totally. India's rank was 176 out of 180 countries, and India's score was 45.5 out of 100. So India has performed miserably. Now, who are the other low ranked countries? Kiribati, Turkey, Iraq and Micronesia are the worst performing countries. So out of 180 countries, India's rank is 176. There are 4 other countries who has performed very miserably, even miserably than India, that is Kiribati, Turkey, Iraq and Micronesia. Okay, now what was the score of India? India's score was 45.4 was India's score, and it was out of 100. Okay, so one thing is very clear, in the 2024 Global Nature Conservation Index, India has performed miserably. Now what the new Nature Conservation Index is the tool that evaluates conservation efforts by using 4 key markers. Now, what are the markers or what are the key points that was taken into account before giving this ranking? The key points that was taken into account on the basis of which ranking was given was land management. आपके देश में land management कैसे हो रहा है? दूसरा, threats to biodiversity. What are the threats to biodiversity in your country? Now, capacity and governance. What is your capacity related to nature? What are the governmental aspects related to nature? And future trends. So all these parameters were taken into consideration. Land management, threat to biodiversity, capacity and governance and future trends was taken into consideration before giving this ranking. So Global Nature Conservation Index was released. India got 176th rank out of 180 countries, which was a very miserable performance, not expected out of India. And understand, the score was mere 45.5 out of 100, 45.5 out of 100, and the worst performing countries included India, Kiribati, Turkey, Iraq and Micronesia. The parameters to give this ranking was land management, threat to biodiversity, capacity and governance and future trends. So you have to remember this parameters as well. Now let us move further. Who gives this index or who formulates this ranking? That is also very important. This is developed by Goldman Sonfeld School of Sustainability. So the first organization or the first institution who builds Global Nature Conservation Index is Goldman Sonfeld School of Sustainability. So this is the first organization. Second is climate change at Ben Gurion University. Okay, climate change at Ben Gurion University is the second institution which plays a vital role in bringing up this ranking, and the third organization is biodb.com. So there are 3 organizations that releases Global Nature Conservation Index. The first organization is Goldman Sonfeld School of Sustainability. The second is Climate Change at Ben Gurion University, and biodb.com. These are the three organizations. I repeat once again: Goldman Sachs School of Sustainability, Climate Change at Ben Gurion University, and biodb.com are the three organizations that builds up this ranking. Now, what is the aim of this index? The index aims to provide a clear analysis of countries' conservation strategies. Now, why this ranking is given? So every country understands where they stand in the conservation pattern. So like they will highlight the like the drawbacks in your country, and the government can improve and work upon the drawbacks and improve the conservation. Now, why India has a poor conservation and why there is a challenge? India's low ranking is primarily due to poor land management and increasing threat to biodiversity. The prima facie factor is we have a very poor land management, and that has been impacting the biodiversity. The country has converted 53% of its land for urban, industrial and agricultural use. So we have a very poor land management. We are not focusing, we are cutting down the trees, and we are using it for urbanization. We are using the land for industries, and we are using the land for agriculture purpose, and we are not taking care of the nature. We are cutting down the forest. The poor land management, 53% of the land has been used for such purpose, and that is a prima facie reason that we lag behind in global nature conservation index. Now, the second factor is we use high pesticides. For better yielding result, we as a nation is using high pesticide, and that is depleting or degrading the quality of land. Now, coming to the third factor, we are failing to have a proper marine conservation. Marine conservation is an critical area of concern. Only 0.2% of India's national waterways are protected. So marine conservation is another problem. Use of pesticide is one of the problem. Improper land management is another problem. And the final reason is climate change. Understand, from 2001 to 2019, 23,300 square kilometer tree cover lost due to deforestation. 2001 से 2019 के बीच में 23,300 square kilometer of land has been cut down, forest has been cut down. And see, although 40% of marine species and 65% of terrestrial species are in protected areas. See, they are being cutting down the forest. 23,300 square kilometer of tree cover cut down completely. 40% of marine species are in protected areas, and 65% of terrestrial species are in protected areas. Still the problem is the index reports that 67.5% of marine species and 46.9% of terrestrial species are facing population decline. Now understand, what are the reasons that India is lagging behind in global nature conservation index? Number one reason, the prima facie reason, is poor land management. We have been cutting down the forest, we have been cutting down the trees for urbanization, industrialization and for agriculture practices. The second reason is use of pesticides on a rapid grounds. Pesticides has been used, which is depleting the quality, of land. And the third reason, we have already talked, we are failing to protect or conserve the marine life. We are failing to do it, and that is another factor. And the last factor, understand, between 2001 to 2019, 23,300 square kilometer of forest areas has been cut down. 23,000, that is a huge area, forest area that has been cut down, that has undergone deforestation. Now understand, it is not so that the government is not taking any steps to conserve marine life and terrestrial life. Government is taking ample amount of steps. For example, understand, 40% of marine species and 65% of terrestrial species are in protected areas. 40% को प्रोटेक्ट करने की कोशिश करिए, marine species protected areas में आते हैं 40%, 65% of terrestrial species भी protected areas में आते हैं. उसके बावजूद भी even after that there has been 67.5% marine species decline and 46.9% terrestrial species decline. So that is a very alarming sign. That means आप प्रोटेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद भी पॉपुलेशन डिक्लाइन हो रहा है. So the government has to keep an eye on it. Now understand, if nature conservation index, India has got such a low rank. Now how it is going to affect the sustainable development goal aspect? Sustainable development goal aspects talk about two things. Sustainable development goals 14 talks about life below water, and sustainable development goal 15 talks about life on land. If we are not able to conserve our nature, if we are not able to conserve our species, we won't be able to meet sustainable development goal 14, the target 14 and 15. That is 14 talks about life below water and sustainable development goal 15 talks about life on land. Global nature conservation index, India got 176 rank out of 180 countries. Okay, 3 institutions jointly developed this ranking. India's score was 45.5 out of 100. Only 4 countries ranked behind India. The factors were many: use of pesticides, improper usage of land, lack of steps to conserve marine species, and the major aspect, cutting down of trees. The government has to keep an eye on it because already we are on the path of development. So there would be large amount of rapid industrialization. The population is exploding at a massive level. So there would be agricultural activity needs to increase, which will further deplete the forest in the country. If the government don't take necessary steps, we won't be, many species of our country would be on the verge of extinction. I hope you understood the topic. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Take care. Stay safe.